Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's Dom, aka KT2, coming back to you guys again for another video. So today what I'm gonna talk about is ROTC versus OCS officers, and I'm gonna talk about the differences that I have seen in both of them. To start, when you really look at a junior officer, the biggest thing that I feel like is the determining difference is how much time they've had in the real Army. And for ROTC officers, it's 0 to none. And for OCS officers, I would say typically they're the ones that are gonna have time in the Army, because OCS you have to be enlisted to go to first, and then you become an officer. But you have those officers like me that only do maybe under a year of enlisted time and then go into being an officer, which does not count as enlisted time at all. I mean, I can relate to my soldiers on some sort of a level, but I can't really relate on everything, if that makes sense, because my enlisted time is not the same as theirs. So the biggest thing, some of the biggest things I see between the two is, I feel like, and this doesn't go for everything. This does not go for all the officers. This is just from OCS to ROTC. Most OCS officers, I feel like, are more laid back. I feel like they are more laid back, they are more relaxed. Whether that has something to do with them being, how do you say, enlisted first, or it has something to do with them, their background, about them having a real job first, or coming prior service. There's a lot of different things I feel like that encompass that personality trait, right? Where not all ROTC officers are unrelaxed and not laid back, but it's not predominant. You know, I know some, don't get me wrong, I know some really cool ROTC officers. I mean, and I'm not saying that not being relaxed and laid back is a bad trait, because at times you need to be more, how do you say, in their face and be a little more aggressive, right? But, you know, I'm biased, of course, because I'm an OCS officer, so I'm automatically gonna think that being in OCS is the best commissioning source. I feel like our commissioning source is by far harder than ROTC, but I don't know all the ROTC programs. I know the Corps of Cadets is much different than I heard from a regular ROTC program. And this does not include West Point. None of this includes West Point, because I feel like I haven't had a big interaction with West Pointers to really give a good view, right? So besides personality, being laid back, I feel like OCS officers are more physically fit. They're more physically fit. We are on the ball when it comes to doing PT and things, right? Because at OCS, I remember my class personally, our average PT score was like 280. But I hear now to even class up, I've seen that like some of them have to be like 280 and up, I think, which is crazy. Crazy. I think when I was in basic training, my PT score was 290. When I was going through OCS, it was between 295 to 299. And now that I'm out of OCS and I'm in the real Army, my PT score is like 320 and up. I think that my last PT test was 326. So, you know, OCS, I feel like we place a higher importance on PT, right? That's just, I mean, it's generalization. And then I came from the top 20% of my OCS class. So that's just us, right? Another thing I see about ROTC officers is that they are more, how do you say it? They're not as experienced, right? When it comes to kind of like life, right? This doesn't go for actually my buddy who's also a PL here. I think he's a very, very, very well-mannered guy, and I would trust this man with I would put my kids in this man's platoon. But I know some of these guys, I remember going to BOLC Bullock, and I'm a quartermaster, so quartermaster Bullock. The guys, some of them seemed a little like they hadn't seen like life. Right? And that's nothing against them. That's nothing against them. Before I came into the Army, I had 2 jobs. You know, I had a real job, you know, so I had some more life experience after college and then joining the Army like that. But I have seen that some of the ROTC officers some stuff is like given to them, right? And it could be because they got scholarships and they were encouraged and things like that. And this is also coming from a guy, gotta keep in mind, I did do 3 years in ROTC, right? MS1 and then 2 MS2 years, right? So I do have an outlook on some of the ROTC aspects that are happening, some of the things that are going on. And then again, this is extremely opinion-based. This is extremely opinion-based, and this is just from what I have seen as a person. Going up through the ranks, you don't see very many OCS officers, right, that climb to the super high ranks of being an officer. Whether that means that they get out early or that means that they just, something else happened. But you don't see it. You know who you see? You see the ROTC people. They get really high up in ranks. You get the West Pointers. They get really high up in ranks. Now, in the beginning, the biggest factor, right, as a junior officer, as a young officer, I feel like is your commissioning source, right? And then when you push off into Bullock, a lot of it gets blurred, right? When you get to Bullock, a lot of people tend to be the same, right? And then when you get to your first duty station, then most everything starts to be the same. You can really see a commissioning source come out of somebody when you start to see how they interact with their soldiers and things like that. Like I'm always trying to be out there with my soldiers, and I don't know about any other commissioning sources. I don't know. I wish I could see my buddy. I don't know what he does. I can only assume that he's also out there with his soldiers. He's talking and stuff. But we are riggers. We're rigger PL, so it's a whole different ball game right there. So anyway, like I was saying, this is not an all-encompassing list. And I'm not perfect, and I could be wrong. I could be very, very, very wrong. But this is just how I've evaluated. This is just how I've looked at ROTC versus OCS officers. Not that one commissioning source is better than the others, because if you really want to stack up the levels, ROTC is better because who do you see at the highest ranks? But that could be because OCS makes such a small population of the officers too. I think ROTC is 85% of the officers, OCS is 10%, and then West Point and there's another academy up in like Merchant Marines, not Merchant Marines, there's another like weird academy that you can only branch transportation that makes like 5% of the other officers too. Anyway, this is just my my evaluation. Please feel free to comment and give me your opinions. Again, my name is Dom, aka KT2, and if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please hit me up on Snapchat at KLOP95 or Instagram at KIDTHNDR2, which will be in the description below. Like I always like to say at the end of all my videos, don't live the same year 75, 80, 85, 90 times, then try and call it a life. My name is Dom, and I'm out of here, guys. Later.